We'll get started. So coming into your child's pose position, stretch your arms out in front of you. Let your forehead land down onto your mat. And come to the bottom of an exhale. And take a pause in your breath. And slowly start to draw the inhale in through your nose, feeling the belly start to balloon into your inner thighs. The breath then starts to round into the back body. You feel the entire body start to inflate and expand with the breath in. And pausing at the top of your inhale. Exhale and slowly let the breath out. Sink your hips towards your heels. Perhaps you can creep your fingertips a little bit further forward. Feel the belly recede and the heart sink down towards the floor. Take another breath in, feeling the belly. Rounding the breath up into the back body. Feeling the entire body get lighter and more spacious. And as you exhale, it's a slow, steady stream of breath out through the nose that allows the heart to melt, the hips to sink back, and the fingertips to stretch further forward. And take a few more big, deep breaths in and out here in this position, bringing a little bit more energy into your hands, connecting to the fingertips, the knuckles, seeing if you can suction cup the hands to the floor, feeling as though the palm of your hand is lifting just a little bit. You feel the side waist long. Just the hips move back in space, searching for the heels. Bring a little bit of pressure into the tops of your feet. And then without moving your knees, can you energetically spread them a little wider so that you feel the outer hips widen? Take a really expansive breath in with your next inhale. As you exhale, can you take your fingertips just a little bit further forward, seeking more length through the side waist? With your next breath in, you'll float up onto your fingertips, lifting the hands away from the floor. Begin to take your hands off towards the left, reaching out through your right hand, and pressing into your left hand, taking a tiny bend into your left elbow here. So the left hand and the pressure into that hand helps to send the right sitting bone more down towards your right heel. And then the reaching out through the right hand helps you to create more length through the right side waist, into the ribs, the intercostal muscles. And see here if you can target your breath into your right lung, feeling as though it inflates out into the ribs, creating more stretch into that area. Notice if you have allowed your left shoulder to dip down and your right shoulder to lift up. And if so, think about rolling that right shoulder down so that the chest becomes parallel with the floor. Let's take 3 more big breaths here. See if you can reach your right fingertips a little bit further. Press a tiny bit more into that left hand. Breathing in, come up onto your fingertips. Begin to take your hands back onto your mat and transition them all the way off towards the right. So here you're pressing more into your right hand with a slight bend into your right elbow and reaching through the left fingertip. And sinking the hips back towards your left heel. Thinking about breathing more into your left lung, targeting the breath out into your left ribs. Notice if you've lifted that left shoulder away from the floor. If so, think about rounding it down, finding a little bit more lift through the right armpit so that the chest becomes square. Take 3 more long breaths here. And inhaling, come up onto your fingertips. Take your hands back onto your mat. Take a big breath in. Melt your chest as you breathe out. Sink into your child's pose. Press into the tops of your feet. Begin to lift away from the floor, rocking the weight forward. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. Draw your knees so that they are beneath your hips. Legs are parallel. Press into your hands, round into your back, tuck your tailbone, take your chin to your chest, and come into cat pose. Really pressing the mat away, hollowing out the belly. Really press into the hands here, stretching into all the little muscles in the back. And slowly allow the chest to begin to sink down. Let the belly fall down towards the floor. Scoop the heart forward, lift the tailbone, lift the crown of your head, ease your shoulders down onto the back, look upward. Keep pressing into the hands here. The belly is sinking, but it's still toned, so the navel's still pulling in slightly. Keep lifting from the tailbone. And if you can, without moving the knees, they just widen away from one another here so that you get that sensation of widening through the hips and space into your lower back, your lumbar spine. And slowly start to tuck the tailbone under. Take your gaze towards your mat. Tuck the chin. Let the crown of the head pour downwards. Round into the back body. Hollow out the front body. Press the mat away from you. The chest starts to dip down and forward. The belly sinks. The heart scoops forward and upwards. The crown of the head lifts. The shoulders ease onto the back. The tailbone lifts. Take 2 more breaths, moving between these 2 shapes with the breath. As you exhale, you start to tuck and round. Moving really slowly with the breath, letting it fuel the movement. And as you breathe in next, the tailbone will lift. The heart pulls forward and through. The crown of the head lifts. The heart shines forward. And coming back to a rounded position, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Last round through cat-cow. Opening the heart, lifting the gaze, lifting the crown of the head, lifting the tailbone. And coming to a neutral spine, tuck your toes. Press into your hands, lift your knees about 1 inch off of your mat. And hover here, toning the belly. Starting to engage through the entire body, grip into your fingertips. Press forward into your hands, slide your hips back in space so that your belly can land onto your thighs, ears come between your biceps. And lifting your sitting bones nice and high, come up onto the balls of your feet, elevating the heels, and slowly begin to descend the heels down and back, coming into your downward facing dog. But we'll hold here for a few long breaths. So if there's movement being called for in your body, you might bend into the knees or sway the hips side to side. As always, this practice is about you connecting with your body and feeling good. Take any movements that feel good for you, and as we start to move more, if they don't, we take modifications. We'll honor your body and always seek balance to your breath, rhythm, depth to your inhales, and extension to your exhales. Take 3 more breaths here in downward facing dog. If you have been moving around, see if you can settle into some stillness here. Pressing into the hands, elongating the spine, lifting the sitting bones really high. Seeking sensation down the backs of the legs as you ground down through your heels. Float high up onto the balls of your feet. Begin to tiptoe your feet towards the top of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Feet come hip distance apart. Grab hold of opposite elbows. Tuck your chin to your chest at the top of your head, point straight down. Your knees can be bent a little bit or a lot. You're starting to work them towards straight. So as you breathe in, think about putting more pressure into your heels to lift your sitting bones high. And as you breathe out, think about rolling more weight towards the balls of the feet, your toes, so that the upper body really pores over the lower body. Instead of having your form back towards your shins, can you move them so that they're out of your gaze towards the back of your head, allowing the elbows to act like anchor points, lengthening the spine down towards the floor. Take a few more breaths here. Once again, you might prefer stillness, or you might decide to swing side to side, seeing if that enables you to find more depth in this pose, working the legs further towards straight. Finding stillness if you have been moving side to side. Release your elbows, take your hands to your shins, find a halfway lift. Lengthen the crown of your head forward. Keep your gaze downwards here so your neck is an extension of your spine, shifting the hips back in space. Take another big, long breath in. And then slowly and steadily breathe out and fold. Let's take two more like that. Breathing in, hands slide to your shins, crown of head extends forward. At the top of the breath, you're in a full expression of this pose. Belly is toned, back is flat, sitting bones are reaching back in space. Then as you breathe out, you release from the pose as the breath escapes you. And taking one more, perhaps the fingertips stay on the floor as you extend the crown of the head forward, lifting the body and breathing out. Bend deep into your knees. Sweep your arms really wide, reach them up overhead, press down into your feet, tone the legs as the fingertips reach higher, palms come together to touch. Close down your eyes as you slide your hands down towards your heart. Now soften into your knees here, and then press firmly into your feet, straighten the legs, lift the kneecaps, tone the thighs, tilt the tailbone underneath you. Feel the hip points lift towards the floating ribs, and the floating ribs squeeze down towards the hip points so the core turns on. And then use your core to help lift the entire heart space a little higher. Draw shoulders onto back body so that the chest broadens, and lift from the crown of your head as your chin gently tucks towards your chest so the neck's nice and long. Take another big breath in here. Sigh the breath out of your mouth. Flutter your eyes open, release your hands by your side. Big breath in, arms will reach wide and up overhead. Catch your left wrist with your right hand, flip the palm to face forward, bend into your knees. With your next inhale, press down into your feet, straighten the legs, lift your left hand as high as you can, and begin to take it up and over towards the right as you breathe out. Press deeper into your left foot here, stick your left hip slightly out towards the left. Now your gaze can be either straight out in front of you, or you'll start to roll your chin towards your left armpit, looking up towards the ceiling. Keep finding length through that entire left side body as you reach up and then out towards the right. Yeah, there's a tendency to curl that top left shoulder forward and draw that right shoulder back in space. Can you scoop the right underarm forward, letting the left back shoulder blade lean back in space? A couple more breaths. One more inhale. Go as far as you can towards the right with that left hand as you exhale. Breathe in, come all the way back up through center. Release the hands, take them all the way down by your side. Soften into your knees. Big breath in, arms will reach wide. They'll reach all the way up overhead. Catch your right wrist with your left hand. Take another breath in, press into your feet, reach that right hand even higher. As you breathe out, you're going over towards the left, using that right hand to guide the right, or the left hand to guide the right hand up and over. Press more into your right foot, stick your right hip out towards the right. Notice if that left shoulder is drawn back in space, scoop it forward, let the right shoulder lean back, gaze is either forward or you roll your chin towards your right armpit and look towards the ceiling. Breathe, big breath. Take one more breath in. Dive as far as you can towards the right as you breathe out. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, release your hands down by your side, soften into your knees. Inhale, arms reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Big breath in, straighten through the legs. Exhale, hinge at the hips and humbly fold all the way down towards your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold, plant your hands, step one foot back, followed by the other foot. So grip into your fingertips here, your shoulders are stacked above your wrists. And as you press into the hands, the backs of the shoulders, they round slightly. Hollow out your armpits and tone your belly. Notice if you're sagging through the hips. See if you can stay buoyant here, drawing lower ribs towards the frontal hip point. And then press out through your heels so the legs are just as strong as the arms in this pose. Your gaze is slightly forward, so it's the crown of the head reaching towards or forward. I don't know what it's going to be reaching towards for you because we're all in different places. But the gaze is slightly in front of you, so it's the back of the neck that's long rather than looking forward and kinking into the neck. Feel as though you're lifting from the back of your skull towards your ceiling. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Belly should be starting to shake as we build strength. Notice if you're locking out into your armpits as you hold here, soften into your elbows. Soften into the elbows. Keep gripping into the fingertips. 1 more breath in. Hips are going to go up and back into downward facing dog, stepping the feet slightly forward, taking them hip distance apart. Press into your hands deeply and firmly. With a breath in, float your right leg up and back. Bend into the knee, take your heel towards your bottom, and then lift the knee out towards the right first, and then up towards the ceiling as the foot drops down towards the left. Notice if you've sunken through your left shoulder and lifted through your right. See if you can press more to your right hand and square off the shoulders by lifting that left armpit slightly further away from the floor. That might mean that your right knee lowers a little bit, and that's okay. Keep pressing into your hands. Think about lifting the knee a little higher and the foot off towards the left. Take a deep breath in, come high up onto the ball of your left foot and draw your right knee towards your chest, rounding it forward. We'll breathe in, sweep that right leg up and back. Breathe out, draw the knee towards the chest, land the foot between the hands. Well, back knee will lower down. And press into your feet, reach the arms wide and then up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, sink the hips forward and down. Take a breath in, lift the fingertips, shift the thumbs back in space, elevate the chest. Exhale, allow everything to settle into the pose. So grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand and slowly start to lift that left hand even higher, finding more length through the entire left side body before you bend into the right elbow and start to take the elbow down towards the right, drawing that left arm up and over. You keep hugging the inner thighs here and sinking forward and down through the hips, pressing into the feet to help lift the chest. A few more breaths. One more inhale. Take it as far over towards the right as you can with the hands as you exhale. Breathe in, reach the arms back up towards the ceiling. Breathe out, release the hands down to either side of your front foot. Tuck your back toes and take a twist. Right arm reaches high towards the ceiling. As it reaches up, the back glute starts to turn on and you come high up onto the ball of the back foot. We'll see if you can rotate your chest a little bit further towards the right. Extend the crown of the head. Press back through your heel, left heel. One more big inhale. Right hand lands back down onto the floor. Right foot will go back to meet the left foot. You're in plank pose. Take 3 big breaths here. Grip into your fingertips. You're looking slightly forward. The crown of the head is extending forward. The heels are pressing back. Hips are buoyant. One more big inhale. Knees will land down onto the floor. Now look at your hands here. Make sure that your wrists are parallel with the front edge of your mat. Look at your elbows. Notice if they're facing one another. See if you can start to roll them more towards that front edge as well, so that you feel the triceps roll back in space. Now, shift slightly forward. Begin to bend into your elbows, which have nowhere to go but back, so that they graze the side ribs as you lower to hover. And then press them out away and come all the way back up. We're going to do that 2 more times. So as you exhale, you're lowering to hover, face hovers just above the mat, and then press the mat away. Use lots of strength to come all the way back up. We'll do one more, lowering to hover. It's so important that we build this strength as we press the mat away and come all the way back up. We're gonna lower all the way down to the mat now, untuck the toes, and find cobra pose. Tops of the feet press down, back of the head starts to lift, chest starts to roll away from the floor, elbows hinge back towards the waistline. Take another breath in, press into the tops of the feet, lift the knees away from the floor, lift the back of your head a little higher, and then slowly release all the way back down. Let's do two more like that. Tops of the feet press, legs get strong, hip points press down, chest starts to roll away, elbows hinge back in space, heart shines forward, back of the head lifts, gazes slightly towards the edge of your front edge of your mat. Take another inhale and exhale to release. You've all practiced with me before. I like to do things in threes. Let's do that one more time. Tops of the feet press down, back of the head starts to lift, ribs roll away, belly rolls away, heart shines forward, elbows hinge back so that the shoulders slide down away from the ears. One more breath in here and exhale to release. Tops of the feet tuck. Press the mat away from you using your knees or not. This is your practice. I'm your guide. You are your teacher. Hips go up and back. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Left foot will sweep up and back. We'll bend into the knee. Take your heel towards your bottom. Start to lift the knee out towards the left and then up towards the ceiling, sending the foot off towards the right. Notice if your left shoulder dips down and your right shoulder has, sorry, it's the opposite. Right shoulder's dipped down, left shoulder's lifted. If so, see if you can lift that right shoulder up and out as the left shoulder rolls down and in so that the chest comes square. Keep lifting the left knee as best you can and sending the foot off towards the right. Breathing in, come up onto the ball of your right foot. Breathing out, round the knee towards the chest, stack the shoulders above the wrists. Breathe in, sweep your leg up and back. Breathe out, knee towards your chest, land the foot between your hands. Back heel will lower down onto the floor. Arms go wide and they reach up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, sink down into your front knee. Breathing in, press into your front heel, hug the inner thighs, shift the thumb back in space, lift the heart. Grab hold of your right hand with your left hand. Hips sink forward and down to start. Press into your feet, lift your right fingertips higher, and then begin to draw your left elbow out towards the left to help draw that right arm over, coming into a nice stretch through the entire left side body. Keep sinking into that front knee, but putting pressure into the heel to help lift the chest. Just as we did before, notice if your right shoulder is curled forward and the left shoulder has drawn back. See if you can roll the chest to face forward. Keep using that left hand around the right wrist to pull up and over. One more big breath in. Go as far as you can towards the left as you breathe out. Inhale, come all the way back up through center. Release the hands, take them down to either side of your left foot. Back toes tuck, back knee lift. Right hand plants firmly. Left hand starts to elevate as you come into a twist. Squeeze that right glute up and in. Press into your right hand so you're not sinking into that shoulder, but lifting up and out of it, reaching your left hand higher. See if you can rotate your belly button more towards your left inner thigh. Crown of the head shoots forward. Right heel presses back. One more big breath in. Left hand comes all the way down towards the floor. Press into the hands. Take your left foot to meet your right foot. Plank pose. 3 big breaths. Tone through the body. Lift from the back of your head. Press the mat away from you. Heels go back in space. One more big inhale. Shift slightly forward. Knees are an option. See if you can challenge yourself here. Lower to hover and hold. Breathe in, stay here. Breathe out, keep holding. Keep the hips buoyant and press yourself all the way back up. Hips will go up and back. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Ripple all the way forward into your plank pose. As you breathe out, just hold here. Feel the body settle and ease into the pose. Breathe in, draw in more strength, shift slightly forward. Knees can always lower. We're coming down to hover. Holding, breathing in. Stay, breathe out. Inhale, press the mat away, lift the back of your head. Hips go up and back. Downward facing dog. Well, I already shared my secret with you that I like to do things in threes, so we're going to do that one more time. Remember, you can always use your knees. We're inhaling to ripple forward plank, exhaling to hold, breathing in to find more strength, shifting slightly forward. Remember, the eyes of the elbows point forward so that as you bend into the elbows, they move back in space. Hover. Push them out away with an inhale. Hips go up and back. Downward facing dog. Find your breath. Breathing in, come high up onto the balls of your feet. Land your knees down onto your mat. Take your hands towards the upper corners of your mat, reaching them as far forward as you can. Tuck your chin, breathe in, round into the shoulders, hollow at the belly. As you breathe out, begin to melt your chest towards the floor. Anahata Asana, forehead can land. There's lots of flexibility in your back. You might take your chin to the floor, gazing along your mat towards the front edge. Notice if you really let the belly go here, round into the tailbone just a tiny, tiny bit so that you can contain the belly, which will bring more sensation into your shoulders. Breathe deeply here. One more big breath in and out. Pressing into the hands, start to round into the tailbone. Start to shift slightly forward, bend into the elbows, slink the chest forward, and land the belly onto the floor. Untuck the toes, move your hands so that they're off of your mat and you're up on your fingertips like little pyramid hands. Tops of the feet press down, elbows are stacked above the wrists. Start to roll the chest away, lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling, bend the elbows back in space, feel the back body working here. Take another breath in, lift the crown of your head higher, shine the chest forward, and breathe out, belly lands, ribs land, chest lower. Two more, tops of the feet press. Inhale, begin to roll away from the mat floor. Lift the crown of your head, draw the shoulders down and back. Take another inhale, find a little bit more lift, pressing into the top fingertips, and then breathing out to roll all the way back down. Do that one more time. Good things come in threes, rolling away from the floor, lifting the crown of your head, easing the shoulders onto the back as you breathe out. Inhale, hold here, tops of the feet press, crown of the head reaches higher, and breathe out to release. Take your hands beneath your shoulders, tuck your toes. Moving through plank pose, knees are an option to take your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Pressing into your hands, ears come between the biceps, spine's nice and long, lift that tailbone higher, ground down through your heels. Big breath in, steady breath out. Right foot floats with your next inhale. Bend into the knee, open the hip. Keep pressing into your right hand. Send the foot over towards the right or left, scorpion pose. Now you might stay here or you might come into wild thing, taking weight into the left hand. Right hand comes away from the floor. Roll into the pinky toe edge of that left foot and land your right foot behind you. Stay high up on the ball of that back foot. Left leg's nice and straight. Reach the right arm up and then forward out towards the left. Press into your left knuckle. Keep pressing the hips upwards. One more big inhale if you are in wild thing. We'll meet in three-legged dog. Right hand lands, pivoting back onto the left toes. Right leg straightens up and back. Inhale here. Knee towards your chest. Land the foot between the hands. Stay high up on that back foot, reach the arms wide and reach them up overhead. Straighten through your front leg slightly, hug your inner thighs. As you breathe out, let the hips sink down, right knee bends really deep, left knee bends deeply as well, lower that knee to hover. Breathe in, press into both feet, hug the inner thighs, lift the hands higher, steady your focus and your gaze here. That will help you stay balanced. Exhale, both knees bend, hips sink down, left knee lowers to hover. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling, pressing into the feet. Hug the inner thighs, slowly elevate, reaching the hands high. Your drishti is focused, everything hugs to the midline. And exhale, both knees bend, lowering the hips, and body is super stable. Holding here with that right knee really bent, you might keep your left knee bent as well, or you're going to start to straighten that leg, lifting the heel to stack above the ball of the foot and squeezing the glute in. Take a big breath in here. As you exhale, take your right hand down towards your right side. Grabbing hold of that hip. You're gonna reach that left hand even higher and then start to hinge forward. So you're high up on the ball of the back foot so that as you hinge forward, as though you're lifting the torso up and then leaning forward over that front thigh. Reach your left hand as far out towards the left as you can. Use your right hand to draw your right hip back in space and scoop it underneath you. Once you've found this position where that left side body is really long and that right hip's drawing back, left elbow is going to hook to the outside of your right knee. Then the left hand, that's wrong, it's your right hand, comes to the left hand. Now, in this position, you're going to start by drawing that right hip back once again, hugging inner thighs and squeezing your left glute up and in. Then shrug your right shoulder onto the back body and see if you can start to rotate your chest more towards your thumbs. Now, here's a really energetic cue for you, and if it doesn't make sense, you don't feel this, that's fine, but if you do, awesome. The heel of your hand, you're gonna start to draw back in space, and then the crown of the head, you're gonna shoot further forward. Keep that back leg really toned and strong. The left waistline and side body is also really long here. Keep breathing, pressing into that right foot to stay buoyant. A couple more breaths. Pressing into your right foot. Start to lift away from that front thigh, lots of strength in that leg. As you come all the way up, hands land to either side of your right foot. Take your right hand to the inside of the foot, heel toe the foot out towards the right. Land your back knee down onto the floor. So breathe in, lift the crown of your head high up onto your fingertips. And then as you exhale, slowly begin to bend into the elbows, taking your forearms down to the floor. A lizard pose. See if you can lift your right big toe away from the floor so that the foot is engaged, helping to protect your knee. If you'd like to go deeper, it's not a requirement, it's just an option. You can roll into the pinky toe edge of your right foot, letting the knee fall out towards the right. If you've done so, you're still pressing into the outside of the foot as though you're pressing into the sole of the foot. Big toe is still lifted so that there's flexion through the ankle. And then can you find the connection to that right foot, whether it's the sole of the foot or the pinky toe edge, and start to squeeze the glute back in space, feeling that left glute roll just a little bit further forward. And then can you project your heart further forward? A couple more breaths. Hands will plant back down onto the floor. Land the sole of your right foot down if you've lifted it. Start to lift your back knee away from the floor. Take your right foot back to meet your left foot, plank pose. So 3 big breaths here. And shifting slightly forward, bend into your elbows, lower the chest to hover. Upward facing dog, scoop the heart forward and through. Cobra pose is always a suitable alternative for this pose. Crown of the head is lifting. Shoulders are drawing down and back. Press the body forward. Press into the tops of the feet. Make your legs stronger. And slowly start to elevate the hips. Use the core. Stay as long at the top of the feet as you can so you're stretching into the knuckles of your toes. And then flipping over one foot and then the other foot. Pressing into the hand. Shifting the heart towards the thighs. Lengthening the spine, rounding down through your heels. Take some big breaths here. The left leg will sweep up and back with the breath in. Bend into the knee. Lift the knee nice and high, send the foot towards the right. So you can stay here in your scorpion pose, or very slowly and methodically, you'll start to roll into the pinky toe edge of your right foot. Left hand starts to lift away. Left toes land in behind you. The hips can sink really low here. The right leg's really straight. The left knee is really bent. You're up on the ball of that left foot. Press into your right hand, start to lift the hips. Lift the left hand high and then shoot it forward and out towards the right. Connect more with your right index finger mount. Straighten through that right leg. Come high up onto the ball of the left foot. Squeeze the glutes, lift the hips higher. Slowly finding three-legged dog. Left hand lands, pivoting onto the ball of the right foot. Left leg shoots up nice and high. Big breath in, knee towards the chest as you exhale, foot between the hands. Stabilize. Once you find that stability, arms go wide and they reach up overhead. As you breathe out, bend into both knees. Right knee lowers to hover. As you breathe in, press into the feet. As slowly as you can, start to straighten through the legs, hugging inner thighs, lifting the hands higher. Your gaze is super focused here. It's as though your hands are pressing into an invisible beach ball to help hug everything in. Slowly lowering with your next exhale, both knees bend. Right knee lowers to hover. Two more, inhaling, find the lift. Exhaling, lowering to hover. And although you're very super focused and you're breathing deeply in and out, inhaling to lift, see if you can just grin a little bit, bringing some lightness into this pose. Last one, right knee lowers to hover. Holding here, straighten through the back leg if you choose, getting strong through that leg. Left hand comes to your left hip. Hug the inner thighs. Reach the right hand as high as you can. Lots of length through the right waistline. Come higher up onto the ball of your back foot. Start to hinge forward as though you're lifting up and over the left leg. Right arm starts to reach out towards the right. Hook the elbow to the right. By the right, I meant left. I'm sure you all know that we're going into a twist to the left. So the elbow comes to the outside of the knee. Left hand comes to the right hand. Elbows lifting. The left hip draws back in space to start. Left shoulder shrugs onto the back body. Chest then rotates towards the thumb. Stay strong in your back leg, bend deeper into your front knee. Press into your front foot so that you're still buoyant through the top body. Start to draw the heel of your hand slightly back in space as the chest and the heart draw forward. Breathe. Squeeze that right glute up and in. Couple more breaths. Feel that left thigh really working here. Press down into your left foot. Lift away from that left leg. Draw your hands back towards your heart. Hands land to the floor. Cool, I don't know about you guys. My thigh is on fire. Left foot goes back to meet the right foot. Plank pose. That's not correct. The left foot's going to come forward back to the mat. The left hand comes to the inside of your foot. You can all laugh at me when I make mistakes. Heel to your foot out towards the left. Land your back knee down onto the floor. Come high up onto your fingertips. Lift the crown of your head really high. And then slowly bend into the elbows, lowering your chest. Forearms can come to the floor. If this is too much for you, you can always stay on your hands or on your fists because that's a lot for your fingers as well. So you choose which position is best for you. Wherever you are, engage through that left foot. The left big toe lifts so that the ankle is flexed. Keep pressing into that foot, or you're going to roll to the pinky toe edge of the foot, letting the knee fall out. Keep lifting the left toe, even if you found this position. And then no matter where you are, you're pressing into the left foot, either the sole of the foot or the pinky toe edge, and drawing the hip back in space so that the right hip can roll forward. Find your breath. And with the inner thighs hugging, you then have strength to project the heart forward, moving the shoulders away from the earlobes. Or perhaps it's the earlobes away from the shoulders if they're moving forward. I don't know, keep breathing. Pressing into your forearms. You'll land the sole of your left foot down if you've lifted it. Come to your hands. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee. Take your left foot to the back of your mat. Plank. Breathe. With an inhale, hips will go up and back. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Touch the balls of your feet. Ripple forward into your plank pose. Lower down for chaturanga. Your back bend, upward facing dog or cobra. Hold for 3 breaths. Tops of the feet are strong. Legs are toned and firm. Crown of the head is lifting in up dog. Back of the head is lifting in cobra. And we'll take downward facing dog. Walking your hands towards the back of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Let the upper body dangle over the lower body. Bend deep into our knees. Grab hold of the big toes with your peace fingers. And tuck your chin towards your chest. Press down into the feet. Lift the sitting bones. Let the crown of the head pour downwards. Take an inhale to halfway lift. Keep the chin tucked to the chest. So the back body does the lifting. And then exhale, bend into the elbows, pull up on the big toe mounds, and move your chest towards your knees. Tuck your chin tightly to your chest so you're looking up in between your thighs. Keep rolling weight towards the soles of the feet as you pull up on the big toes and the elbows draw outwards. And 3 more breaths here. Soften into your knees. Release the big toes. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out to fold. Soften into your knees. Reach the arms really wide and all the way up overhead. Palms come together to touch. Exhale, slide your hands to your heart. Close down your eyes. And breathe in. And breathe out. Eyes will flutter open. Bend deep into your knees. Sweep the arms back in space. Lift from the pinky fingers. Press the palms towards each other. Sweep the arms forward and down, or down and forward. Thumbs then start to lift. We were in chair pose, bending deep into the knees. See if you can shift them back in space by moving your hips back so that when you look down, you can see your toes. And then notice if your toes are all squished up together, take the balls of your feet to the mat, lift the toes, spread the toes, and then land them back down. Looking back forward, see if you can lift your thumbs a little higher so that your ears are between your biceps. Notice if the belly is pouring forward and you're sticking your butt back in space. The butt does want to move back, but you want to round into the tailbone so that the belly hollows. Take a few more breaths here. With your next inhale, you'll start to lift up onto the balls of the feet as the hands reach out in front of you. Flip the palms to face down. Breathe in, lift from the crown of your head, pulse up. Breathe out, pulse down even lower. Bending deeper into the knees. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, up on the balls of the feet, press down into them. Lift the crown of your head. Exhale, lower just a little bit further. I like things in threes. Let's do that 1 more time. Inhale, pulse it up. Exhale, start to lower. You're delivering your knees to your mat. Hands come to the hips. Whew. Press the hips forward. Draw the elbows back in space. Nice. Release your hands by your sides. Breathe in, arms will reach up. Breathe out. Bend into the elbows. Take the hands back behind you. Flip the fingers to point down. Draw the hands towards each other. The pinky fingers almost touching. Land the thumb mound into your lower back. So it feels as though the thumb mound is just resting on top of your butt. on either side, on top of either butt cheek. And then press the hips forward, squeeze the elbows back in space. From the middle of your chest, your sternum, your heart start to lift. It feels as though there's like a hook around that bone and it's got a string on it and it's pulling you straight up towards the ceiling. Keep squeezing elbows back, chin stays tucked, but you might start to lean back so your gaze comes upwards. Breathe, pressing hip points forward. With an inhale, use your core, draw it up and in to elevate the shoulders to stack back on top of the lower body. Let the hips sink back in space, keep the toes tucked. If you've untucked them, tuck them now. Well, we're coming into broken toe pose. Palms of the hands come down onto your thighs. Index finger and thumb come together. Close down the eyes, breathe. See if you can shift the back of your head a couple inches further back in space so that the skull is stacked above the shoulders, which is stacked above the sacrum. You can think of this as triple S, so sacrum, shoulders, skull, all stacked on top of one another rather than the chin jutting forward, the shoulders leaning forward, and the sacrum sticking back in space. And really, I'm just talking a lot so that it distracts you from the sensation that you're feeling, and I am feeling in the soles of my feet. We have a few more breaths here. Last breath in. Stay for your entire breath out, emptying the lungs. Flutter your eyes open. Lean forward, plant your hands. Lift up onto your knees, point your toes. Land the tops of your feet down. Start to sink back in space. Land your sitting bones onto your heels. Take your fingers behind you, come up onto your fingertips, and then lift the knees away from the floor. So you're now stretching into the tops of your feet. Nice. Rocking back forward, come all the way up onto the knees, tuck the toes. Let your hands fall beside you. We'll come into Uttanasana, camel pose one more time. Arms will reach wide and up overhead. Bend into the elbows, a slow descent of the arms back behind you. Feel as though you lift the elbows to lift the hands so that as you start to land the hands onto the bottom, that thumb mound, it feels as though it lands on top of your glutes and the fingers land down onto the round part of your butt. Pinky fingers hug in, elbows squeeze together, lift the chest, press the hip points forward, chin stays tucked to the chest as you start to look up and lean back. If you want to go even further, option one is to just let the head hang back. Option two is to keep the chin tucked to start, then take the hands down towards your heels. Once you've found that, you want your thumbs to be on the outside of your heels and your fingers to curl around the inside. Press the hip bones forward first. Feel the ribs press forward, the sternum lift, and then you might choose to let the head fall back. Keep pressing no matter where you are. Hip points as far forward as you can here. So if you have the hands on the toes, the hip points pressing forward, make it feel as though the chest is going to take flight, but the fingertips keep you connected down and back. A couple more breaths. Slowly coming out of the pose. If you've taken the hands down to the feet, they'll come back to the glutes, and then you lift the chest. Untuck the toes. Land your hips to your heels. Take your hands to your thighs. Index finger and thumb pads connect. Tuck your chin slightly. Press into the tops of the feet. Elongate your spine, lifting the crown of your head. And come to the bottom of an exhale and pause. For 4, we'll breathe in. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out for 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 more box breaths for 4. Inhale. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Pause for 4. 2 more on your own. Pause. Exhale. Pause. One more on your own. A rich breath in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Inhale. And exhale. Blink the eyes open. Keep your gaze very heavy. Roll off the hips off to one side. Swing your legs out in front of you. From here, the legs go long. Look towards your toes. Take your feet so that they are hip distance apart. Flex your toes, so make space in between each one of your toes. Spread them nice and wide. And then take your left hand off towards the left. Roll onto your left glute. Grab hold of your right glute and just smear some of that bootylicious back in space before you roll back down onto that right side. And just notice how the right side feels compared to the left. So we want to balance that out. You're going to take the right hand down towards the right, reach underneath you as that left glute rolls away, smear the left glute back and up, and then roll back down onto that left side. Nice. Look towards your toes once again, spread them even wider. Start to strengthen up the thighs. So if you look towards your knees, as you strengthen up the thighs, you'll see your kneecaps sort of lift slightly in towards you. And then that will help you feel as though you can almost outfloat the heels away from the floor. That's how engaged the legs are. Hands come down by your sides. You can come up onto fingertips if your arms are really short, bending the elbows slightly back. And then lift from the crown of your head. Stack the skull above the shoulders, above the sacrum. So you might be leaning slightly forward to start. Take it all back. And close down your eyes. Just feel and see how that feels for you. This is called proprioception. So how our body feels in space, how the mind connects through the nervous system to the different parts of the body. With the eyes closed, start to float the arms out wide and just lift them up to shoulder height. Palms face forward, thumbs are lifting. Press the backs of the hands slightly further back in space. Press into your sitting bones. Lift the crown of your head so chin doesn't jut forward. The chin has to stay tucked in so that the back of the neck is long and the skull is sliding back over the shoulder blades, the scapula. Then see if you can engage your legs a little bit more. Float the heels away. Eyes are still closed, so you're just feeling into the body. Some start to lift really, really high, reaching the arms then up, palms flip towards each other. Press into your sitting bones, fingertips reach even higher. Take the thumbs just a tiny bit further back in space. Notice how that feels in your shoulders. Legs are still strong. Big breath in, lift the fingertips higher. From the hips, seeing if you can keep that space in the front of your hip point, start to lean forward, suck the belly in. Once the arms start to dip down, pause. Breathe in, tuck your chin towards your chest. Lift the thumbs so that the biceps are in line with the ears. Lean further forward here. Lift the thumbs a little more, and then slowly start to fold even deeper. Hands can land onto the shins, ankles, toes. Eyes are still closed, chin's tucked to the chest. Breathe in, project the heart further forward. Tuck the chin, lift the back of your head a little higher. Breathe out and fold. Just feel. Well, with the eyes closed down, there's no outer distractions. You can turn inwards and really connect with the body. Use the breath. Feel the pulsing of your deep breath cycles. Rhythmic, helping you to find more depth here in this pose. We'll stay for 5 more breaths. And slowly sliding the hands along the legs. Pull the navel in as you round back up into your seat. And blink the eyes open. Land the soles of your feet onto the mat, bending into the knees. Take your hands beside you. Shift yourself forward if you need to come more into the middle of your mat. And slowly recline, hugging your knees to your chest. Tuck your chin so the back of your head lands onto your mat. Squeeze the knees in nice and tight. Rock yourself side to side. Massaging your back into the floor beneath you. Slowly starting to find stillness, slowing down the rocking. And take your right knee into your right hand and your left knee into your left hand. Pull your knees towards your armpits, widening the knees. Still squeezing them in towards the ribs. Right hand stays on that right knee. Take the left hand to the left pinky toe, taking the elbow to the inside of the knee. Once you've caught hold of that foot, then do the same with the right. So right elbow comes to the inside of the knee, and then the hand reaches around for the outside of the foot. From here, connect your lower back to the floor. See if you can connect the top of your butt down too, and then take the soles of your feet to point straight up. See if you can keep that connection to your lower back and to the top of your butt cheeks. Take a breath in, press the soles of the feet up, but the hands keep the feet in place. And then as you breathe out, dissolve the pressure from the feet slowly so that the knees draw closer down towards the floor with the help of the hands. Let's do that 2 more times so that we come to our 3. Breathing in, press the soles of the feet up. And breathing out, dissolve that pressure, soften into your happy baby. And 1 more time. Releasing the feet, slide your hands along your legs until they come to your knees. Draw the soles of your feet together and land the pinky toe edges of your feet down. The hands will continue to slide up onto the thighs. So take a breath in, press into the back of your head and into your elbows just a little bit so you can lift your middle back away from the floor. Draw the shoulders closer together and then land the chest down onto the shoulder blades. From here, take your hands and reach them towards your outer knees. Flip the palms to face up. Let the backs of the hands land onto the floor beside you. Tuck your chin so that the back of your head elongates towards the upper edge of your mat. We'll close your eyes down. Let the hips get softer, the knees flop wider. Take a breath in, press into the pinky toe edge of your feet. As you breathe out, soften. And 2 more like that. Breathing in, press into the pinky toe edge of your feet. And breathe out. And for a 3rd time, inhale. The bottom of the exhale, one leg will go long, followed by the other. The final pose, Shavasana. Let the bones go heavy, the muscles go soft. Release your breath. Gently breathing in and out. This is the magic of this practice. How you are feeling right now in your body, radiant and vibrant. Calm in your mind, happiness in your heart. If you have the time, I recommend that you stay here for a little longer. Otherwise, invite some movement in and eventually join me in a seat. Keeping the eyes closed as you move, maintaining that humble quality, gentle quality that you've welcomed in through your Shavasana. When you come up to your seat, join your hands in front of your heart. Take a long breath in to make your spine taller. And as you breathe out, bow your head. Blessings of joy, happiness, peace, and love for your day. Namaste. Thanks all you beautiful people that came and joined me this morning. So nice to have you. In a few weeks' time, we'll be back in the studio, which is really exciting as well. If you ever have any questions, please reach out. Don't hesitate to contact me. I love to chat about yoga and lots of other things too. So always feel like you can reach out and have yourself an awesome day.